Welcome to the Revenue Marketing Report powered by CaliberMind. I'm your host, Camela Thompson, and today I'm thrilled to introduce Tycho Luijten. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm founder of Dapper. I think that's interesting to tell. Dapper is a growth marketing agency, a relatively young agency. So we've been around for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. And in that short period of time, we grew very fast. And we're specialized in B2B marketing. So that's a little bit about the company. We're a team of 20 people now, and it's going really well. We have momentum. So the biggest bottleneck right now in the business is hiring the right talent to execute the work. But I think that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and it's a great segue into what we're going to talk about because. A lot of marketers are being asked to do more with less. It's a phrase I have heard throughout my career, no matter how good the economy was doing. One of the temptations I've seen lately is to cut down our costs on the content side and leverage AI and automation on that side. So let's talk about what works, what doesn't, and why. So first, have you tried ChatGPT?
Yes. One of our core values is innovation. So when we translate that to we pioneer, it's actually, it's written here right above me. So, we always try to be one step ahead. We believe that is the reason that big companies work together with a small Dutch company like us, because, we're always one step ahead in terms of tools and technology, growth frameworks, and so on and so forth. So, of course, especially generative AI is something that we need to continuously explore. And I myself, but also my colleagues, do explore the applications continuously. Short answer, yes, we do use it.
Yes, and I've seen my sales team use it. In fact, I had a sales rep send over an article and say, "Hey, what do you think?" And I was able to immediately, I'm like, "Did you use ChatGPT? Because this doesn't sound like anything a human would naturally say." So, I of course am not saying you don't use it, but let's talk about some of the applications it's good for, maybe not good for. So I would say it's not quite where it needs to be for replacing a human for thought leadership articles, because it's just regurgitating what happened over the last 12 months.
Yes.
But what are some applications you all have found that are interesting?
Yeah. So what I'd like to say first is that, my immediate response also was, and sometimes still is, we can't use this because it's unoriginal content, right? And if you want to grab and keep the attention of your prospects, you need to say something new, because the attention span of people is so short nowadays. If you're not saying something that is really different and worthwhile for your prospect to read, then forget about it. He's going to scroll right past it. So that's my first reaction. But then I also try to think about the other big disruptions in technology that heavily influence marketing in the end, and realize, this is something that happens with every technology, right? There are a lot of people underestimate it. Same with social media, right? A lot of companies at the dawn of social media said, we don't need social media. We're a B2B company. People are on social media to look at funny cat videos and memes and stuff like that. Same with the internet and maybe the printing press a couple hundred years ago. So right now, I try to not use it for thought leadership, right? I strongly believe that is really something that requires originality. I've tried it a couple of times, but I simply can't create content that I find worthwhile publishing. Right. But for instance, if I write a long article, I do ask ChatGPT, "Hey, can you come up with a couple of ideas of cutting this article in a couple of short bites that I can share on LinkedIn?" Yes, and that is something that works very well. Or, for instance, if we write an article for a client of ours, we might ask, "Hey, rewrite this same article, but then imagine being a cybersecurity specialist with 10 years of experience. And if you
Yes.
give these very, very specific prompts, then all of a sudden you get an article that has a much better tone of voice. These types of things do work very
Yeah.
well. But yeah.
Agree. And some of the interesting ways I've also used it are asking it, like, what are people in this specific category worried about or searching for right now?
Mhm.
And using it to kind of aggregate all that search data that's really hard to access
Yes.
has been interesting. So I've tried that in a few variations, and one time it just spit out this list, and I'm like, there's our content topics for the
Yeah.
next 6 weeks. Done.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
been interesting. And then thinking of creative variations for ad copy, and most of them you're going to
Oh
probably
yeah.
throw out, but every once in a while there's a gem in there. I
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, so on the content creation side, definitely. And then I think also for that is more on the demand generation side, right? Pushing new content. But I also think there's a lot of interesting developments around capturing demand. So not too long ago, I saw a post of a marketer that found that a client came to them, or at least an inbound lead, and that mentioned as source, how did you find us? ChatGPT. And that's pretty crazy, right? So
yeah.
a couple weekends ago, I went to London with my girlfriend, just a weekend away, and we were playing around with ChatGPT, asking ChatGPT what should we do on a 2 day trip to London, staying in Kensington, and then ChatGPT comes up with 10 recommendations of fun things to do. Then you ask ChatGPT, what restaurants should I visit in
Yeah.
this neighborhood? And it works as a marketing machine.
Yeah.
So and now, especially with the introduction of AI, more advanced AI in Google and in Bing, I feel that a next step will be of optimizing your findability for these new AI search engines. That's also something that I think we're going to see a lot more of in the coming time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point. My wheels are turning. I can already see it happening. It's just it just
Yeah,
makes sense. So ChatGPT is pulling from the content that's already out there.
yeah,
So that tells me a couple things. If you want to show up in ChatGPT, you should prioritize your content strategy. You should be
100%.
creating the disruptive, cutting edge things that people want to consume,
Mhm.
and that should also lead to showing up in ChatGPT when people are asking questions related to your product. Is that what I'm
Mhm.
hearing? Okay, I
Yeah,
love
I,
it.
I do think so. But we are working with some assumptions here because
Yeah.
we're not completely sure how the algorithm works and what kind of
Mhm.
content the algorithm prioritizes, of course. So I am not a specialist in AI at all, right? But what I know is that the algorithm behind ChatGPT works as follows. I'm probably not going to explain this in a very I'm probably going to explain it, and you're still going to be like, okay, what? So that counts for me as well. Basically, what ChatGPT does is after formulating one word, it tries to find another logical word through what is mimicking a neural network. So it formulates word by word, and that's also when you see it working, it doesn't completely pushes out one full article. It goes bit by bit, which is crazy. So it formulates every word. It thinks after having one word, it looks to find the most logical words to put after that. So, I think we need to very thoroughly understand this algorithm in order to understand how we're able to be found on the algorithm. If it's the same as Google or anything like Google, it boils down to just answering questions as properly as possible, right? The days are long gone where you just could put a certain keyword 100 times in an article and hide it behind images and put it in at the right spots in order to be found. Right now, we just have to give a good answer to a question. And I feel like that is going to be very similar with all the AI search engines.
Yeah, and the benefit of this is that you're getting feedback real time. So as it's presenting these things, people are telling it, yeah, that worked. No, it didn't.
Uh,
And there's where it goes way beyond Google and starts turning into something really interesting. But that brings up a good point. Our phones are doing the same thing.
mhm.
You know how most of us, if those of us who swear, when we first get the phone, it auto corrects that out of it. And then eventually it learns, no, you're actually trying to type that. I'm going to let you do
Yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
so as you like autofill text, you start noticing words you use more frequently pop up as the
Yes,
next option.
yes.
So the machines are taking over. It's happening. It's just,
Yeah, well, and it's funny because this, yeah, it sounds like a joke, but more and more of these software and SaaS are introducing generative AI. So also, I don't know if you use Notion yourself, but I never installed generative AI, but I was typing in a document, and it allowed me to click on suggest a copy,
yep.
and like a couple hundred words are put in front of me, like, oh, pretty decent. Like,
Yeah.
it's not perfect, but wow, this just saved me like 20 minutes of typing. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and many of us have been using similar technology to ChatGPT. I know a lot of people who use ChatGPT as an editing tool,
Yeah.
and I've used tools like AutoCorrect, Grammarly. There's quite a few out there,
Jasper. Yeah.
very similar. So this isn't new. I think I would I would say that we still need to apply our own context and judgment when it comes to what we use and what we edit and what we change. But I like that you pointed out the knee-jerk reaction for me also was I can't use this because it's not going to be new things that people
Yeah.
want to seek
Mm-hmm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about it a little more and say, well,
Yeah. And also, I think it's like the fact that this can develop in something that can do that, I think um, uh, should signify the importance of understanding very well how it works. And
yeah,
even though right now I'm not going to use it for my own thought leadership content, I will keep using it for different purposes and keep exploring the applications of it, because at some point in 5 to 10 years, it will be able to generate these new ideas.
yeah,
And the moment is there, you don't want to be the person that doesn't understand what's going on. This is one
absolutely.
of these groundbreaking technologies that is going to change so much. Right now, it's not perfect, but we do see the power of it and the potential. So, to all the marketers out there, even though you might not 100% agree with the complete uses of it, but yeah, keep up to date with it,
Yeah.
and make sure you know how to apply it.
Yeah, and if you can shave time off of what you're doing by leveraging it in certain ways, that's worth it. So you
Yeah.
may not rely on it completely. Wouldn't recommend it at this point, but I agree. The big question is it going to learn how to come up with new ideas before the dystopian future of robots taking over? I'm totally kidding, kind of, mostly.
Are we?
I keep thinking to Jurassic Park, which dates me a bit and shows my age, but we
Jurassic
didn't.
Park was my favorite movie, so
I keep thinking of the line they only asked if they could, not if they
Mhm.
should, and I'm like,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
recommend to everybody checking out the daily podcast. They have a fantastic episode that says the search wars got scary really fast, and it's fantastic. So it's all about Bing chat. Okay, so let's go back to marketing land and away from dystopia future.
Mhm.
What are some of the best practices you see in B2C? And we talked about some of them as they apply to thought leadership. But what are some of the things you see happening in B2C that you wish happened more often in B2B?
Okay. So, just in general, B2C marketing, how we can apply it to B2B marketing.
Mhm.
So, where I think B2B marketers can learn a lot from B2C is that B2C marketers can think about the complete funnel, right? They do not stop at a certain point. Their responsibility is not warming up an audience, and that is it. Their responsibility is showing yourself to somebody for the first time, keeping that person engaged, and when somebody gets to that product page, doing everything as possible, everything possible to get that person to convert and buy your product or service. When we're talking about B2B, in the past 10 to 15 years, there has been this division of marketing and sales, where marketing got very, very high marketing qualified lead goals or sales qualified lead goals, some contact details of people that are not actually interested to buy. They got these KPIs, and then sales got sales needed to close these deals, right? So what happened is that with these wrong KPIs, marketing was steering towards getting in contact details, right? This is something that you've been hearing a lot lately. But
I just want to pound my head on the desk because I know where this story always ends up. But keep going.
Yeah. So and B2C marketing is all about it takes you through the whole funnel. So if you're doing it properly, I think B2B marketing, your KPI is revenue, right? Yes. So KPI is revenue, and really creating a machine that creates inbound leads that actually makes it worthwhile to sales to spend their time and energy on. I have an example also of a company that we've helped where this went terribly wrong. And we lost about 100 and 150 K in advertising budget. I don't know if I have time to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. Go.
So we were helping a client, and that client wanted us to run lead generation campaigns, right? Classic, with white papers and ebooks on LinkedIn and on Facebook, gathering these contact details and then passing it on to sales through HubSpot. Mm-hmm. So, I was asking this client, can we please at least talk to sales, see if we have the right people at the right companies, if these leads are warm at all, or should we change it around? I was trying to find an entrance to introduce demand generation and demand capture. But the marketing director of the company told me, no, Tycho, you guys are doing a great job. You're hitting these marketing qualified lead goals, and keep doing what you're doing. But sales, that's a whole different department. You don't need to talk to them.
Oh, so goodness.
I was like,
yeah, grown.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah.
And it's a war I've fought I'm having flashbacks, but keep going. I'm interrupting.
Yeah. No, this is not a unique story. This is something that happened in almost every B2B company out there, probably. And what happened after is that, or after a couple of months of running these campaigns, I get introduced to a sales representative in the company, and I ask him, hey, what do you think of these leads that are coming in? He's like, leads. I didn't see any leads coming from these campaigns. And then we started researching the situation, and apparently an integration wasn't made or wasn't properly made between our campaigns and HubSpot.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen that.
Keep going. It's ridiculous, right? So what happened is none of these leads came through, and we spent somewhere between 100K and 150K advertising budget on it.
Just burn it in the parking lot. Just burn it. Good.
No, and what happened is that these leads never got there and never got followed up, and it's just a perfect example of how broken B2B marketing has been. And luckily it's changing, but yeah.
And I've seen a lot of different variations of this too. For some companies, especially early on, social advertising is a great way to build awareness, but not a great way to immediately generate pipeline. And I've fought this battle internally, where we want to hit a really aggressive pipeline goal immediately. And the thing that makes sense to scale is to spend it on advertising. And I'm the freakishly weird marketer going, no, let's do some kind of high value meeting incentive, and then you'll get your pipeline number. And then we do this other stuff still. Expecting that eventually they're going to convert in some other channel. I see you nodding. I wish this other person had nodded too, because I was like,
I love this. I can give an example of how we do our marketing here at Dapper. Of course, we have our demand generation activities, from SCA to SEO to, some free demo that we're giving away, free growth scans, all of these things that focus on the couple of % of our prospects that are currently looking for an agency. But then for that 95 to 97% of our prospects that are currently not looking for an agency, but maybe in half a year or 2 years, we want to be on top of mind. We want to make sure that they know that they have a problem that we can solve and that we can be trusted and they recognize us. So my goal personally is to become famous within a very, very specific niche. And that niche here in the Netherlands even is a group of B2B marketers at companies between 20 FTE and 200 FTE, because that's the perfect prospect for us now. And, you know, if I zoom in on that, that's a group of 30 to 50K marketers maybe in total. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's not a big group of people. We can become famous there. And all of a sudden you switch your mindset, and even the paid advertising that I'm running are high value videos, high value carousels. You don't have to click on them. You just have to scroll past by them and watch them. And the only thing that I optimize for is video views. I just want to grab people's attention, keep the attention for as long as possible, and make them feel that they have a problem that we can solve and that we're on top of mind. And a lot of the leads that I'm getting in lately are leads that tell me, yeah, I only see you guys on LinkedIn. And every time I watch a video, it's something interesting, you know, and you're not pushing for a click or for a download. It's just, yeah, I'm just watching interesting stuff of you guys. So whenever I think of an agency, I have to think of you.
Value add. Yes. I love it. I think this goes wrong in a couple ways though. Like most B2B organizations, historically, are either product led or sales led. And the people who have embraced and found that sales led absolutely works, the problem is their mentality is we're going to grow by brute force, outreach, and directly. And what happens in those organizations, and I'm going to go to my soapbox a little bit, but what happens in those organizations is that marketing is so severely undervalued that no matter what you do and what numbers you produce and what you tell them, you're going to have a battle on your hands, because they're going to go with what the sales team is feeling rather than the data you're producing. 100%.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to educate leaders that the 95% is worth doing every time. Because they want to see immediate transactions. That's not marketing's job.
No. And that is so spot on, you know. Also, when we start working together with clients, there's always a discussion up front where they ask me, okay, when can I see results? You know, after 3 months or after 4 or 5 months. And I tell them, okay, yeah, for the demand capture part, we can show some results in a short period of time. But for the demand generation part, it's investing a lot of time in creating high quality content. It's spending advertising budget to get that message to the right people. And it's sowing before you reap, or is that the order? Yeah, right.
And marketers know you're looking at maybe 6 to 9 months and seeing an increase in momentum in that demand capture as a result of the demand generation. And that is a hard pill for most leaders to swallow when they need to meet numbers right now. So I think that shows the other coin where this kind of goes wrong is marketing focuses exclusively on the 95% and doesn't do the short-term things to help supplement sales in the meantime. So you have to do both, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and I think that you know, I think that with the dawn of digital marketing, created some promises and some expectations that were never met, right? Yeah. So at the beginning of like somewhere between 2000 and 2010, when you had these companies like Booking and Airbnb and Tinder that grew extremely fast, they were all around one growth hack. So Airbnb had this Craigslist integration, for instance, that allowed them to skyrocket, and especially in the world of growth hacking or growth marketing, which is how we present ourselves. this false idea of, just finding one hack and skyrocketing your company is still very much alive nowadays. Well,
I battle it every day. Every day. You just need to do one or two things really well, and then that'll will take off. I wish that was true.
Yeah.
It's not.
It all boils down to marketing 101. We're finding out, okay, this promise of digital marketing or growth hacking isn't true.
Nope.
For 99.9% of the businesses out there. You will not find one growth hack that will catapult your business. We have to go back to the basics. Who is our audience? Okay, define it very well, narrow it down, fine tune a message that speaks to them, and repeatedly reach them with that message and with something valuable to say, and become and create the top of mindness. And in the meantime, making sure that you're there when people are looking for you. Marketing 101, but still not so simple for a lot of people out there.
Right. It's relationship building is the business we're in now, and it takes time. You don't get trusted on day one. It takes a lot of customer evidence. It takes communities. It takes a lot of forums, and it also takes speaking the language that the people you're prospecting want. The same language they speak, the same pains they feel, all of those things. So yes, nail the basics. Love it. Okay. Tycho, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you online to network?
Tycho Luijten on LinkedIn. So can they see my name somewhere? It's TYCHOLUIJTEN.
So we will link to your agency, your LinkedIn profile in the show notes and the article. People can. Perfect. I encourage them to go right now and check that out. And for those of you looking for more great content like this, check out calibermind.com.